Good day.
Good morning, everybody.
It's
Is it a
episode
good
78.
day?
No,
it's not a good day. I'm sorry.
Never.
It's really not.
Yeah, this is a not safe for work podcast. Did you know that?
I do know that because of my potty mouth.
Adult content, adult language, adult themes. And this week, content warning.
Warning. So if you guys hadn't seen by the title of this episode, we are going to be talking about the Holy Thursday Massacre. If that is a subject that is upsetting to you, and you don't want to hear about it, then this episode's probably not for you, and it's okay to go ahead and click out and maybe check out one of our other episodes. But that is what we're going to be talking about. Also, if you can't keep it professional in the comments, I will definitely boot you out. I feel like the whole world is looking at the reptile industry right now, and it's really important that we put our best foot forward with professionalism. And like, we're not going to put up with any shit, but we also need to not be the crazy mob threatening to kill people with bolt guns. That does not make us look good. So, yes, we're angry.
You can talk about boobies, though.
We can talk about boobies, yes. Yes, we're angry. Yes, this was unacceptable. Yes, it was horrific. But let's keep it professional from our end so that we can shed the best light on our industry and show that we can be respectful and cool-headed in a really horrific situation.
Not that respectful, a little bit.
Maybe not as respectful, but we can be professional in the face of such awfulness. I'm gonna shut up.
I'm loving.
You can give your own speech.
They're awesome.
After.
I wanted to summon Elijah to our aid, but I think he's busy. Because he's like ultimate troll, right?
Well, yeah. Okay. Whatever.
All right. I have a message. We have a message.
To
the FWC. And in case you were confused, guys, we're going to try to help you out. BOA. Let's say it together.
BOA.
BOA. It's hard, but we can do it. BOA. Central and South America. Reticulated Python. Reticulated Python. It's hard. Southeast Asia.
Very, very different animals, yes.
Burmese Python. Burmese Python. Say it together, FWC.
Burmese Python.
They can look similar, but they're actually not similar at all. Last one. Pedophile. All right.
You want to read that for the people who are audio only?
Yeah. So an FWC officer was charged with possession of CP on his phone, actually. So in case the FWC needs help, BOA, Retick, Burmese Python, pedophile. We need to be aware that there's differences. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. It just like the hits keep coming.
Yeah. I think we're going to skip shout outs this morning. We just have a lot of stuff to get through. If there's time at the end, then we'll definitely be doing that. But we're just going to keep plowing forward, guys.
Yeah, we'll talk to you guys in the chat later, especially. Ral. Still a blessing. VetDNA.com offers hashtag shit happens for $5 off your crypto panel, which we, as always, need. Thank you.
Thank you, Ral. That's awesome. Also, if you are from Fishhead Labs and you would like to also sponsor a code, email Jessica or I, and we would gladly post you both up there. We're not exclusive to Ral.
Yeah, so. Jube has a code though.
Okay, well,
but you can use that one. Messenger. She's had it on her Instagram. Okay. I think that's 10% off too. If you want to use that, nobody cares.
Yeah, we don't care what lab you use. Is what I was trying to say.
But I like Ral. What's this character? Who's this guy?
Who's this guy? Is he the guy that announced that he's pregnant with his 11 billionth child? I think I
Maybe.
saw that. Congratulations on your puppy pregnancy. This is Shane Kelly, Small Town Exotics. He is offering deals on his Morph Market animals until the 17th. You'll have to check out his Instagram to see what current deal he's running. I believe he's doing a different one every 24 hours.
Right. So it's like a Easter egg hunt in his stories.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna be having available. And so until the 17th, he's going to be running deals for those who join USARK Florida and have proof of email that they can screenshot to him. He will be offering different promotions like discounts off or free shipping or things like that. So just make sure you're watching his offers because we're probably all joining USARK in the last week. And you can have a little benefit of money off.
Discount.
Yeah. And then if you want to take that money and donate it to USARK Florida, that'd be cool too, but you don't have to.
Right. USARK Florida, though, not USARK
USARK Florida, correct. And these are new signups. If you already have one, I don't know, message him and be like, dude, I've been one this whole time and see what it'll do for you. But this was specified as new.
Right. Thank you, Shane Kelly, Small Town Exotics.
Yes, I think that's really awesome of him.
You know what else is awesome?
What?
Justin is offering a free membership to someone in chat right now.
Someone in chat right now. So we have 37 people. Jana is thinking of a number between 1 and 100. Comment numbers below, and the first person that says the number that I'm thinking of, Jessica already knows the number too. They will win it. If you are already a member of USARK Florida, you are welcome to pass that along to someone that is not.
Kids,
kids, friends,
neighbors.
Pets, neighbors, whatever.
Wife,
mistress, any alternative solutions.
And you can guess multiple numbers because it's
keep guessing. I'm watching, and if you guys hit it, then I'll say who won.
Yeah, it's a bronze membership.
Oh yeah, it is a bronze membership. And that is from Stone Age Ball Pythons, which is phenomenal. Do you have
keep going? Instagram? You guys are doing great. What?
Do you have my Instagram story that shows all the... Can you go to my Instagram page, please, yes, while I watch these lovely people shout numbers at me?
Keep going. You guys are getting close.
I think I've even said my favorite number on this podcast before, guys. Come on. Where's my super fans at?
This story? No, this is a post.
Bohemian Exotics is our winner.
Yay!
So Bohemian, please message Stone Age Ball Pythons. Either of his accounts is fine. If it's not for you, let him know who it's for. Your wife, your kid, your best friend, your dog. But we just want to have as many people signed up as we can. This is a 1-year bronze membership to USARK Florida, and it is going to Bohemian Exotics. Thank you guys for playing.
Yay! We'll play more later of different, not this episode, but different
stuff. Yeah,
different stuff. I thought this was easier than collecting your names, doing a spin to win.
Yeah, that was way easier.
Oh my god! Thank you, Bohemian, and everyone who played.
And especially thank you to our sponsor, Stone Age.
Thank you.
That was really cool of him to offer that up, especially with what we're talking about this episode. So thank you very much. And thanks for sponsoring our podcast. It's nice to rub shoulders with such cool people.
Before we get into everything else, Lord, there's other stuff still happening. So the New York ban added emus for some reason. Like, it makes sense, cassowaries, because they kill a certain number of people a year. But emus, which are like a reasonable exotic pet bird, were added to the New York ban too. So if you ever wanted a pet emu, which are fine, right? And you're in New York, please send a message to your senator. Thank you. All right, Roger's here. What's up?
What's up? Great Family Snakes, also a sponsor. We'll be doing their ad break later. Yeah. After all the sad.
Okay, so this has been obviously a week, right, Jana?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The hardest part has been like figuring out what the fuck's going on, because we've gotten information in dribbles and drabbles, and that's fine. But I tried to put it in order to help clear things up, and then we'll discuss. That's my dream. So, go back in time, everybody. February 2021.
Take your time machines. Jessica's about to take us on a trip.
We're going on a journey. Some of this I'll just talk about, some of them I'll show, because some of it's just information. They officially voted and passed the rule, which takes certain species from conditional permit species to prohibited. So that was tegus, iguanas, and the big snakes, basically.
Can I ask a question for those of us that are not fully aware of everything that's going down in Florida? I knew that had been passed, but are we still fighting it? Because it was 2 years ago. Like, are we still fighting to try to get that reversed, or are we putting our efforts elsewhere? USARK Florida.
Well, people ask that all the time. Like, don't do that, please. But we'll get into the current suit. The current suit is requesting that they roll that back specifically.
Okay, so we are pursuing that.
Yeah, but it's hard because what talking point of the hundreds of things they fucked up do you want to tell them about today? So I don't know if there's a specific where USARK Florida is tell them today to go back 2 years in time.
List. No, I just meant that legislative specifically. Were we requesting that again?
Yes, the current lawsuit would adjust that back to a conditional species permit. Okay. The effective date for that was April 29th, 2021. And that gave them 90 days to rehome them. So a lot of the news reports are Mr. Coffee had 5 months to rehome them. Well, he had 5 months from the voting of the rule, not from the effective date of the rule. He only had 90 days. And I think there was a period of time where people weren't sure if it was actually going to go through. So he really didn't have 5 months. He had 90 days.
Literally 90 days. Until they said, yes, this is really happening. Why would he rehome his animals?
Right. So that's why all the news reports are he had 5 months. He should have. That's kind of short, but kind of long.
And even if he did
have 5 really just 90.
Months, right. Even if he did have 5 months instead of 3 months. These are very specialized animals, in my opinion. Not everyone should own these kinds of animals unless they are equipped to house and handle them. And so they're not it's not like a ball python that pretty much anybody can take care of and be fine. These animals have to go to responsible keepers. And so he can't just be free Reticks and Burmese Pythons, get it now. It's not that simple, guys. In order to do due diligence, he has to make sure that those are going to the correct kinds of homes.
Correct. And then, so he had 120 to begin with, and he did pretty good. He was down to 36. And here's something that is still weird to me, because obviously there is a grandfathering rule that you can keep a certain number as pets. And at first I thought it was both kinds, snakes and lizards. And then I thought it was just lizards. And now I'm back to hearing that you can grandfather. Some snakes were grandfathered, but a small amount per person in certain kinds of, obviously, enclosures or whatever. So when he told them at the end of the 90 days that he could not place the last amount, he thought he was asking for them to be grandfathered at that moment.
Right. And also, just so you guys, if you're not aware, at the expiration of those 90 days, it was illegal for him to sell or give those animals away. So he would literally go to jail if he tried to continue to rehome those animals. So at that point, legally, even though he was asking and requesting for more time, they were saying, if you move these animals, you will be arrested.
Mm-hmm. And so he wrote down a list of everything he had, including the pit tags, which they technically already knew, but whatever. And they took that list and were like, thank you, we'll look at this and maybe grandfather it. And instead they charged him 2 counts per animal. They were actually misdemeanors. I think I've heard people say they were felonies. I double checked. They were misdemeanors.
I think he had to fight them to misdemeanors.
Well, there was a misdemeanor diversion program, but they were misdemeanors to begin with.
Oh, okay.
I've heard both, but now I'm thinking they're misdemeanors to begin with. And so then on February, so it's 36 animals to begin with, right? And then he's told he can't get rid of them. He has to keep them, like Jana said. February 6th, he had the misdemeanor diversion program, which downgraded them all further, and he just paid a small fine. And the charges were not, they were all dropped. February 6th of 2023. So this year. So they made him keep it and just like.
They basically made it seem like he had been grandfathered in at that point.
No. FWC made him sign over the animals to them when he was first charged. So they were already not his property anymore. Technically, they were just evidence for the court case. But he was forced to continue to care for them through that time. But they weren't grandfathered. They were evidence.
Oh, no, I mean, once he won his...
Right, he didn't win. There was no judgment about the disposition of the snakes.
Okay,
They were still technically
the
the possession of the FWC. Everybody's confused, Jana. Me too. Yeah. So is the FWC.
No, I thought at that point in February that he had been given his back possession of his animals because they made him re-sign.
Right. Well, they weren't supposed to because they were already owning it or whatever. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Apparently if he had called the Amnesty office instead of his specific officer when he ran out of time, it would have been okay. He just couldn't have been grandfathered. It would have to have left the state.
So like they would have given him more time is what you're saying.
Right. The Amnesty Program lets you keep them and then they look for an out-of-state home for them, like for free. That's the Amnesty Program. That awesome. Office barely exists, and there's 2 people who work there, and
they're underappreciated and probably underpaid.
Yeah, I can't find it. Took me a long time to even find their fucking page on the FWC website, and they do like an Amnesty Day once a year, and like, on a county fair, and like, hey, do you have a random iguana in your house? You can amnesty it now, but
you can amnesty it, but yeah, we're definitely not going to show up and kill it.
Holy fuck!
Yeah.
On Wednesday, April 5th of 2023, a Retick was seen somewhere in Broward County, hypothetically.
Now, you have requested the records for the officer cam.
Yeah, for all these days.
For the sighting of the snake or any evidence of the report.
You're right. I wanted the incident report and the camera because
but we haven't seen any actual proof other than them saying it happened that this was a real report.
Right.
So we have no evidentiary support for their claim that there was a loose illegal
right. And
snake.
Then also they said loose and recovered. So like, was it an out-of-state Retick that somebody brought in that they didn't know the rules?
And if it was
and
recovered and he has all of his animals tagged,
why did they go there to check?
Why did they go there to check the next day? It just doesn't add up, guys. Is what we're trying to say. Like,
I just want that body cam. I want to just know for sure there was a snake. It was probably a corn snake. Let's be honest.
No, it's probably a boa.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Next day, April 6th. Even though the snake was hypothetically there, hypothetically recovered, who fucking knows? Nobody knows.
According to them, the snake in question that got loose was in their possession, and they were looking at his facility to prove it was his snake, even though all of his were tagged, and they should have been able to know before arriving if it was his snake or not. And he also
by pit tag.
Correct. He's also stated that none of his animals were missing.
Right. Okay. And so we've had he was obviously upset. So the story's kind of crazy about like the early part of the day that's not on video because he was upset. And so he's told things that aren't necessarily contradictory, but they're like pieces of a larger story.
Right.
And I was like, I gotta get the body camera shit for this, because it sounded like he was obviously he signed them over, but he's being coerced, and they were already technically owned by FWC anyway, so it doesn't fucking make any sense. So I was like, body cam footage, that's
it's a truth teller. That's why they're there.
Right. It's an observer that doesn't know fuck all anything. Right. And all 4 officers
unbiased is
there had
observations. Correct.
So this is the most complete story, and it's from the GoFundMe written by the daughter, recounting this series of events. Officer Lex.
Do you want to pull it up?
Yes. But I'm going to read it off of this. It's down. The whole story is here. It still has things that are missing. I'm not going to read it off here because there's no paragraphs. Officer Lex called Mr. Coffee. Mr. Coffee missed the call, but heard the voicemail left by Officer Lex. Mr. Coffee was able to give a call back, and Officer Lex said he was already at the facility waiting for him to be let in. Then she mentions the day before their events, a snake had gotten loose out of captivity in the surrounding area, hypothetically. And that was why they even went to his facility to begin with. During the phone call, my dad asked Officer Lex what would happen if he didn't let him inside the facility. Officer Lex explained that he would have to arrest him. Again. He's already been arrested.
Again, guys.
My dad then asked what would happen if the snakes already passed and they were frozen in the cooler and not accounted for. And then said Officer Lex would explain he'd have to arrest him again for inhumanely euthanizing, which is ironic, but okay.
Very
the animals.
Ironic.
At this point, Mr. Coffee was back to a corner and left with no other choice. Let them inside. So then she sort of skips over a bit and says, it came down to Officer Lex telling my dad that the most humane way of euthanizing his pets would be allowing Officer Lex to do it instead of Mr. Coffee.
He wasn't allowed to legally euthanize his own animals, even with them present. That was not an option, guys. And so him requesting that they do it in his facility was because he wanted footage of it. And he wanted to know what was happening and how it was done. So them twisting it and saying that when they got there, that he requested that they take possession and kill his animals. No, those were the options that were left to him. And the worst choice for him was to have it done at his facility where he could record it.
Yeah. And also there was no, I think it was the 3rd USARK Florida Instagram live or whatever. Coffee told Daniel eventually that their off-site location was the parking lot outside. There was never an option to be euthanized at a vet or somewhere else. Sometimes I've seen them recover reticks and take them somewhere else, but they never even gave them that option. It was like parking lot or inside of the building. And he's like, well, that will scare the neighbors, right? To have a bunch
and the snakes. Yeah,
snakes being dragged outside and bolt gunned on like the hot asphalt. So then he was like, okay, I can videotape, right? And they're like, of course you can, because he's allowed to. And so everyone consented to everything that was happening technically, but how much coercion and confusion was happening?
A lot.
Mr. Coffee was under the impression that they would be euthanizing them, that Inspector Lex would be euthanizing them with a barbiturate injectable. That's the only reason he agreed in the first place. He was instructed to sign the receipt again, and he'd be relinquishing his rights again. I don't know why the fuck they technically needed it again, but who fucking knows? And then it goes on down here to explain that he obviously got upset after the first one because he didn't know they were going to use a bolt gun.
He had no idea.
He was holding the first one down
because he thought they were going to give it a lethal injection, not a bolt gun to the skull.
Right. And then he obviously got upset, was crying and left and said, "You guys do it." Was
And he
very
left
clear.
the room. He did not leave the building, guys.
Right. He was in and out of the building, I think. But it looked like it was one of those like industrial warehouse districts that have like the big roll down doors. So like there was other tenants next door or whatever. So
Right.
it looked like he was in the parking lot, in the front area in the parking lot.
It also says in there that he has over 4 hours of footage, and obviously we've seen 8 minutes.
Well, they were there for 4 hours.
Correct.
They knocked over the phone for the first some amount of time on accident or on purpose, you decide. And so like the first half of the clip is just the ground muffled or whatever of his phone.
Right.
So we don't have that part. Body cam would clear all that right up.
Which we have a legal right to request and receive. Mm-hmm. Anybody, not just him, anybody who.
And I'm going to show you how to request yourself at home later in the episode.
So stay tuned for that, because she has definitely already done that.
I know. They're okay. Let's focus. The second pair of officers, the smiling ones, the ones that are having a great time, were just called in to assist to hold animals down to be murdered because Mr. Coffey could no longer assist. So those people like look dumb because they are. They're not like senior investigators or whatever like the other two are, who are also dumb, but they look even more dumb and more happy to be there.
Yeah, but they're not the people that are supposed to be checking tags and identifications.
Right. They
don't know snake breeds. They're literally just there to hold snakes. And so they have no idea if they're euthanizing the correct animal or not. That's somebody else's job. Right.
It was the two senior investigators' responsibility. You would think, just real quick, they would scan the pit tag before they euthanized it and then like check it against the records. Because they were, if you look in the video, they're always scanning the snakes after they euthanize them for the pit tag.
Yeah, that seems really smart and efficient. Like, it seems like this is the kind of thing you'd want to check twice or measure twice, cut once kind of a situation, guys. They absolutely should have been verifying tag numbers. They should have been scanning tag numbers before ever even picking up the bolt gun, which we're going to get into their humanely euthanized rules at some point in this discussion. Jessica has it.
Yeah. So, and you guys got to see the video. I didn't want to like really like, obviously they fucking mistake the boa, killed a bunch of shit, left a mess, took the bodies, pretended like it was a good day serving Florida, whatever, went home. So that all happened on April 6th. I don't know when he sent the original files to USARK Florida.
That was in one of their interviews. They said that they
didn't he call them that night?
He called them that night. They had the footage, I believe, on Friday, and they decided not to ruin the industry's Easter weekend for those of you who celebrate. And they decided it would be best for everybody if they waited until Monday.
That's not true at all, because they posted it on.
They said that in an interview, and they said that they posted it on Monday, the video, because
they posted the long form on
correct.
Yes, but they posted like the teaser on the 8th, which was Saturday.
Yeah,
it still ruined my weekend. Fuck. It's fine. They probably posted it because you wouldn't have been able to call and complain on a weekend, on a holiday weekend anyway, which is fair. So on the
just real quick. So Bosabal has a question. It says, how can you mistake a boa when you look at the tag before taking it out? So we just said they were not checking tags. They were not verifying the animal. They were not scanning microchips to verify that the numbers matched, which they should have been, because what if he just like swapped in some other snakes there that he'd rather they euthanize than some, expensive one or whatever.
Right.
It doesn't matter what. They should have been looking at the tag.
They were dead.
Right. And they were looking at the numbers and the animal and identifying it after it was already euthanized. And if you like, one of my very first questions was, shouldn't that boa's cage have been locked? They had his keys, and the boa's cage was locked. And they unlocked it and removed the snake, euthanized the snake, or attempted to euthanize the snake. And then they looked at its tag to see which one it was.
Right. So that's something that's not that was been talked about in lives, and why we need the body cam footage desperately, because they were obviously told, and it was obviously, according to reports, locked. They got the keys.
There is
unlocked
video
it.
on one of your links. The video was there showing them unlock it. Now I'm gonna have
I've
to
never
dig
seen
through.
that.
Oh, like there's literal video footage that I watched from your notes that showed them physically unlocking it.
I think unlocking a different one.
I'm gonna dig for it, guys.
All right. Okay.
You keep talking.
Good. I mean, you don't have to do it now.
Oh,
whatever. I believe their story that it was locked and they unlocked it because they're dumb.
No, but it is captured on video that
Okay.
that they were trying to get into it, and one of the officers was like pushing on it and was like, "It's not opening," and he was like, "Oh, don't worry, I have the keys to everything," and he went and gets it, and they're laughing and talking.
Video? Which one
They're
was
laughing and talking while he's unlocking it, and they never once looked at the tag, and then they slid the door open. It's on the opposite side from the tag, and yanked the animal out, and then euthanized it. And
so that was at that moment.
And then the one that we've seen where he's looking at the tag and he's like, that was after all of that. So they have released the footage. I'm going to go find it. It is in your list.
Okay. It's been a long week.
It has been a long
week.
Right.
So that would qualify, even though they have permission to be in the building, as obviously a legal seizure, but also a legal search. They're opening something that's locked against them that they don't have the right to access, clearly. And then so McAdams has actually a great case for suit, which we'll talk about a little bit more later.
Marissa, thank you. It's on the autopsy video.
Oh, all right.
It's mixed in with the autopsy video.
Good.
Only watch if you guys can handle seeing 32 dead babies. That one's a hard one to watch. That's even harder than the other one to watch for me.
Right. It is weird. I mean, not to be paranoid or whatever. Like, blue shirt notices early. Everybody sees that. Gray shirt maybe is genuinely surprised, but blue shirt knows and then is fake surprised 10, 15 seconds later.
Yeah.
So is that like... It seemed insane that they would have intentional, malicious...
There really isn't any other explanation to how that happened. I mean, literally, like, he pointed it out multiple times. They're on their little killing high and they're just like, wee. He had pointed out that enclosure. We haven't seen it, but he has video evidence of him telling that they did. There should be body cam evidence of that. Like, I can't think of any other excuse other than it was absolutely intentional. There is no...
Right, and it's also weird, like, the two experts who agreed it was a boa got it out and looked at it in their hands as they're setting it down. So even if they don't read the tag, they unlocked it, and then they're physically looking at it. So they're so incompetent, they can't be trusted to do literally anything.
Well, and also, like, she was so hugely obviously gravid that if someone had said to you 10 times, this is a gravid legal boa, and you pull out this snake who is twice the size in girth as the other snakes that you're euthanizing, wouldn't that make you pause and like double check if you weren't maliciously trying to kill this animal?
It's
because when they told him,
allegedly, in our opinion, allegedly, FWC malicious. FWC.
Allegedly, for sure. Yeah. It seems that way. Also, like, when they told him after the snake had been suffering in the corner for 20 minutes because they did not continue their humane euthanasia procedure, they just did step 1. When they told him, you could absolutely tell it wasn't like the voice of someone who's made a mistake. They were literally like giggling as they told him, oh yeah, dude, we're totally broke up about it too. And you can probably cut her open and save the babies. The babies were a month from their delivery date per the veterinarian who did the...
It was Dr. Dale.
Yeah, Dr. Dale's badass.
He's our best, like, testing Dr. Vet in Florida. Respect.
Mad respect. So that was also not an option. And even if they thought it really was an option, they wouldn't have waited.
Why would they wait 20 minutes?
They wouldn't. They just wouldn't.
However long it was.
The system or the series of events that took place and how they took place, there is literally no other logical conclusion other than it was completely
malicious
intentional.
Allegedly.
Yeah. I mean,
All
literally,
right.
there was zero excuse for it.
Yeah, it's all very sus. But then, like, how does... We've seen it. I don't want to, like, really fucking mainline it because it's horrific. I'm never going to get his screams out of my head. Like, the sound of a man who's, like, truly suffering. Holy fuck.
That is, I mean, I was, like, sobbing and trying not to, like, I don't know, be sick at that point because, like, literally... Anyway, yeah.
So on the 8th, USARK Florida posts the stills on their Instagram. On the 9th, so that Monday, there's the long form video comes out. And there's smaller forums on IG on the 10th and the 11th. I think Bosabals posted it on TikTok. And Donny posted it the day after also. And that's when, like, the troll army emerges to start harassing FWC on all platforms, which I loved, by the way. I didn't love when people were like threatened physical violence because that sends your ass to jail. But just like continuous
barrage of fuck you, this isn't okay. But
I love it. They've stopped posting everywhere. Just like, thank God. I love it. Like when they killed that coyote 3 years ago, I found some of their complaints on like old social media posts, but we have topped coyote complaints times 100. Congratulations, everybody. We're all domestic terrorists.
We're all doing a good job.
Okay, and then on 4/10, the FWC responds with, and they've been silent this whole time, except for their normal social media posts that they ignore the issue on. They respond with, "Hey guys, don't be mean to me in my comments on Facebook."
Yeah, you guys are being mean, and that's against Facebook rules.
My feelings hurt.
Yeah, that was their only response. Just literally, you're hurting our feelings with your comments, not any kind of statement in regards to what had happened. Just literally like, you're being mean.
Mm-hmm. Then, obviously, there was important lives on Evil Morph Gods with USARK Florida. A lot of this information is from, but there's like 3 of them now. But he went on to Tiki's, and I thought Tiki had like the most interesting take was that there should be a general protest in Tallahassee just about how reptile keepers are being treated, not just like message the governor, not just message whatever, but like a straight up, it's time for it to stop because it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So, and Tiki's half volunteered to manage it.
Right. So if you are Florida local and you've heard about there being a peaceful protest scheduled for those that are in the area, make sure you comment below or post it on your Instagram and tag us so that we can let people know that that's happening.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. On 4/11, I, at this point, requested the body cam footage. I include this in here because you can see that they haven't given it to me. Which is funny because they can manage to post like a naked guy outside a Target riding a scooter high on meth
from
right
their
away.
Body cams, yes.
Right away. But somehow I can't have something that they have obviously looked at and know about in a reasonable amount of time. That's pretty cool. So 4/11, I did get a response like, we're working on it. And I'm like, yeah.
Better you got an automated response.
Well, they are legally required to give it to me. So
right.
And then on 4/11, finally the FWC doesn't break their silence, but actually starts responding to messages. So they responded with the like boilerplate one that we've all seen now a couple hundred times. It just says like the FWC received your...
Just bring it up for those of us who haven't seen it.
I don't even have like a link to it because they didn't post it.
Oh, I thought
anywhere.
That was the one that you had screenshots of.
Right. No, this one wasn't posted anywhere. It was only responded in IG messages, Facebook messages, and it was leaked to the press. But it wasn't posted anywhere. And it doesn't mention the boa at all, which pissed people off. Right? And then on that day, the 11th, the local news has started to pick it up. So Palm Beach Post, Florida Today, NBC Miami, Jacksonville Herald Tribune. And then Chris Coffey was on Miami 7 with a live interview, which got clipped off to his TikTok account, which I think he's only posted 3 videos on, but it's just sort of some of the behind the scenes stuff. 4/12, so 2 days ago now, I requested a body cam incident report for the Retick, who hypothetically exists, and looks like they've like pushed my requests together, and I'm like, aren't those events separate? Don't you have an incident report for them separately because they are not related events?
Not related at all.
Or are they? I don't know. Allegedly, there's a Retick, maybe in Broward County,
that leads to his facility. Wink. Which means it would have to have his tag, which they'd have to have proof of.
They were just like picking any Reticks they maybe thought could exist in the county and just harassing them, basically. So on 4/12, it hits national news, USA Today, Yahoo News, Newsweek. It's also on local news channel 8, and they release the autopsy video. USARK Florida does. And then Donny releases on his Instagram the old body cam footage from the officers telling him he couldn't get rid of it or euthanize them or he would go to jail from like 9 months ago or whatever.
When he originally had to like sign his rights away,
right? Right. So Donny has that footage. Good job, Donny.
Are all these going to be linked in the show notes or not?
They don't even fit. We hit the
Oh, we hit the max. Sorry, guys.
Right, I put a bunch of them, but not all of them. But if there's something specifically you want from me in order, I'll just keep this. I'll just like copy and paste it, maybe attach it as like a shareable, a readable Word doc or something. And then the 12th still, FWC emails change from like the boilerplate, and now they added the word, the phrase about boa. So while euthanizing the relinquished animals, officers unintentionally euthanized a boa constrictor owned by another party, which was not on the list of snakes relinquished by the facility owner. The SWC is looking into any changes in procedures which would prevent this from happening in the future, like reading, writing, cognition.
Correlation prior to euthanasia.
So
matching numbers.
Respect. Right, we can match numbers. It's like
it's not like, I mean, even if they don't know how to fucking identify a snake, they have a scanner. There are
need the numbers.
Listed ID numbers on every enclosure. Literally, you just scan
that's
it.
That's too smart. You
just scan it and you look at the numbers and you say, do those match or don't they match?
It's too hard to do that. I don't know what you're talking about. Can't. We just have to guess. We have to shoot wildly and guess, right? At people, kids, pets, and then just like clean it, just cover it up when you're done. Allegedly, don't sue me. 4/13, which was yesterday. Coffee and McAdam post a GoFundMe, which we've already talked about, which they're at. Let's do an update. $3,660. They in here give the longest form of the story, and also at the bottom say they're trying to raise legal funds. Good, right? Good.
Very good. Yeah.
I think McAdam has a great case. So the problem is like this amount of money. It's not going to help him with suffering and cover his legal case. We're running on a little bit of a delay again, as usual. So I don't know if USARK Florida has something else that they're trying to help them with. I know they posted that thing yesterday on Instagram where they're like, FWC can't call us anymore. They must submit all inquiries in writing.
Good. Because
I'm assuming they're getting threatened or something behind the scene, allegedly. Or something, because they need to keep shit in writing at this point, because they're getting probably equally harassed as we harass them. So that is the story up to today.
Yeah, do you want to touch bases and bring up their euthanasia?
Yeah, now we can go through like the order of just talking points. So if anybody wants to, we'll talk to you or whatever. Yeah, all the ones that were a conditional species permit ones were. The boa wasn't, though.
That's what I'm saying, is they would have scanned her and she would not have popped up in their system, and that would have caused them to pause.
And be like, what is this?
It's illegal and he needs to go to jail, which is their job, or B, they've got a wrong fucking snake. So if they had been doing that with every snake, scanning and double checking when they got to her,
it seemed very logical to do that, Jana.
Yes.
But
so all his snakes were not microchipped. All his conditional snakes were microchipped per Florida regulation.
So this is Florida's own description of humane killing methods for non-native reptiles. It does have a bolt gun and a location on the head where the brain would be, but it also requires pithing to finish destroying the brain. Because the bolt gun is just like a concussive and then opens a wound. It doesn't necessarily like kill the whole brain, especially if you're like So I didn't see any evidence of pithing. Did you? In
Not
any
a single
release?
Nope.
Sounds like they failed to do anything humane to me, Jana.
They did step 1, but they missed step 2, which makes it inhumane. And if the snake takes 20 minutes to die, you did not do it correctly. Literally, there should be no movement right away.
Well, I mean, there can be because the muscles are going, but like 20 minutes later,
not 20 minutes later,
fully dead for that whole time. Supposedly they did her a couple times because they kept missing or something. And so she kept dying and they would do her again. I heard that on one of the lives. So that's pretty cool.
I haven't seen that, but that's...
But anyway, if they done it in close to the right spot and then proceeded to do this like clockwise motion to try to destroy all nervous tissue, they would have killed her faster, and then she would not have needed to be redone 4 times or whatever, and kept trying to like...
They should not have killed her, but since they were trying to euthanize her and had already bolt gunned her brain...
And this is true for the reticks too. Obviously, we don't want them to suffer, or the Burms.
They should have completed step 2, because this animal
seems like
was illegally killed and then done in a inhumane manner, which is absolutely outrageous.
Right? Should somebody be fired for not following the humane euthanasia steps?
Well, they should be fired in
for
general,
non-native reptiles.
This is definitely a reason that they can't sidestep. Oh, it was a mistake. No, has to come back down to training. Like, if you're going to be euthanizing animals, you need to know the proper steps. And if your website literally lists the steps you're supposed to follow, then your employees should know those steps.
You would think. Is that the same one that we got from 2 days ago, or the one from yesterday? They've been just copy pasting a lot. Or is yours new? I love new ones.
They said they sent it to you. Proper Royals, hi Adam, said, crazy thought here, where is PETA in all of this? It would be pretty ironic and neat if we could get PETA and the reptile industry pointed at FWC, like a united front. I think that would be...
No, I'm good. They want animals to die.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they're not going to, is what I'm saying, but yeah, in a cool world, it would be, and we would absolutely be on the same page if that was actually their agenda.
Fuck them. Did you send it to me on Instagram, Mr. Carter, or did you send it to me on Facebook? Whatever, moving on.
We'll Lisa, so we talked about delay. We talked about this earlier. He had the option of letting them kill them in the parking lot, outside, or in his facility, and he felt like it was too graphic for his neighbors to be exposed to that. And then we also discussed that that was less humane to be dragging reticks out to a really hot parking lot and then killing them. And he thought they were all going to be given a lethal injection. He didn't realize that it was going to be the bolt.
Right. And sometimes when they drag them away, things get worse. Like the iguanas that were seized were just like thrown in the back of a truck and like overheated. and died of asphyxiation in bags. A lot of them, they weren't even euthanized. Ties iguanas, I heard. No body cam footage for that, though. I would like that, too. Actually, that'd be sweet. Yeah, I think it is the same one. Technically he asked because he was told he was going to go to jail and he was coerced into it. Brian.
So yeah, that absolutely probably would have incited a lot more attention to the subject, but he had no idea that they were going to be horrifically killing the snakes. He thought that they were going to be humanely euthanizing, which is fucked up and not okay. And according to all the statements, they should have been grandfathered in. He didn't know that that's what was going to happen.
Right. There's like 40 layers of fucked up where you're like, why weren't they grandfathered in? Why was he charged? If he was charged, but they dropped him, then they weren't that mad about. So why didn't they let him amnesty them in now? Like, and get them out of or whatever. Like, there's 10 layers of like problem here. Right. Why does Fish and Wildlife Service have this authority to begin with? Why are we killing healthy animals? Like, all of them are fucked. There's not a good one. I haven't heard a good excuse for any of this shit yet from FWC because they've been silent and they still haven't released like an actual like report.
No incident report for either incident.
Right. Or just like a PR statement, like that's like public, like on their social media, that even if it was copy and pasted what they messaged people, they made a report for the pedo guy. Like they got an interview with they're like, yeah, we don't like CP actually. So they got an public statement for that. Oops. Yes. But they couldn't make a public statement like, hey, we're gonna try not to fuck up a bunch. Nope, no report. So let's keep going. How to request public records from Florida. The reason why Florida Man is such a popular character in urban legend is because Florida has like a rule that you can basically request court records, written records, videos of meetings, and body cam footage easily right away. So you can do it too if you want. You don't have to be a resident of Florida. You go to, this is definitely in the show notes, myfwc.com/contact/public-records-requests. You can submit a public record request for any event that you so desire. And it just, you can ask if you need it certified, it costs money. If it's free, if you don't want it certified. So anytime anything sort of hinky pinky happens, you can ask for a copy of it.
And Jessica has
FYI
no information other than the auto response.
Well, they've been like, we're working on it. Wink. I've had people email me, but they're like, well, you're in the queue. Apparently a lot of people are requesting. So then, just to talk really quickly about qualified immunity, like, because cops just generically shoot dogs a lot when they go onto people's property. And so a lot of times they just get away with it because like the dog was being aggressive, but the dog might not even been aggressive. So you can countersue for like the destruction of personal property, which would be an animal in the state of Florida. If you like meet certain qualifications to overcome qualified immunity, like it wasn't a risk to the life of the officer. So was a snake in a locked cage a risk to the life of the officer, Jana?
No, a snake in a locked cage in a locked facility that they obviously needed him to come open up. So they were very double, triple contained like they were supposed to be. Like he was following every regulation and rule that they had given.
Right, and McAdams wasn't involved. So I'm saying McAdams can meet all of the qualifications for overcoming qualified immunity and successfully sue for compensation for the death of his boa specifically.
Absolutely.
Is what all I have to say about that. Not a lawyer, though. Allegedly, death of his boa. Alleged.
It's not alleged if we have video footage of it and an autopsy, is it?
I don't know anymore.
It's not allegedly.
We're so close to getting sued right now. You don't even know. I'm just trying to be the news, but it's difficult.
Yeah.
So since we record records, that's cool. But what about if this video recording was never made, Jana? What would happen?
So I can tell you what would happen because this has happened to others, guys. This is not the only or the first incident of this happening. They have been trying to say over and over again that this is happening, and public statements keep being released saying that it's unfounded and they're just being hysterical and trying to
Women.
hysterical women, little Karens. They're just trying to make it sound like the FWC are the bad guys, but really they're not doing anything wrong, and your pets are your pets and you're safe. But really, this is what's been happening to reptile keepers, and he just had the wherewithal, I don't know how in this situation, to record it, and that is why it's getting so much more traction than the other people who have been reporting this. But he is not the only one that has suffered this. He probably will not be the last person in Florida to suffer this. But he, like I said, he just had the ability to think, I need to record this, and that will be so damning in this case in general, and will hopefully they will win legislation and they will be able to prevent this from happening to other people in the future.
So here's our tip section. I think, based on this, you should record every FWC officer everywhere they exist all the time, even if you're like not
eating a
bad
burger
at them, you know.
Eating a burger, they're eating a burger. Let's record them.
So I mean, like, live stream reptile shows. All reptile shows should be live streamed from now on, just everywhere in the show. And you're like, why? That's invasive privacy. I don't care. Just put up a sign like, we're live streaming from these locations, because there's plain clothes and in uniform FWC officers that walk around shows. You could walk around a show too if you wanted, and just happen to follow them.
Yeah, you're not breaking any laws.
Yeah, you're just ironically near them. And it's not to be mean, because nobody's fucking breaking a show rules at a fucking reptile show. Why would you bring a berm to sell?
Yeah, but he wasn't breaking the rules in his facility.
Right. Either. I'm just saying, like, maximum accountability. Right?
Absolutely.
And then you should be recording in your reptile buildings for lots of reasons, like theft or, you know, accidents or whatever. Liability stuff, like if somebody comes and trips and pretends like your snake killed them or something, but they've slipped on a banana. All the time, probably.
Angel said, for those audio only, he was an animal control officer in New York City years ago, and even to him, this video was extremely unprofessional and just wrong. He saw a ton of red flags. So as a animal control officer, Angel, did you receive training? I mean, any training, not having to euthanize snakes or anything, but did you receive training? Just a question. I
mean, most, like, I don't know how to put this correctly. Maybe I shouldn't say it. I feel like most, like, there's a lot of reports from Florida of, like, you know, a sheriff's deputy finds a boa and then gives it to a rescue. And, like, that somehow makes the news or whatever as, like, a good deed, or, like, saves a cat from a tree. So I feel like cops that aren't trained know they're not trained, so they call the FWC. But the FWC is like,
the bad guys and the idiots.
Yeah, it's the wildest thing. Like I know nobody knows about it, but I posted it on my personal Facebook page. But that when they killed that coyote, there was firefighters, police officers saving, like, a drowning coyote in, like, a canal or something, and like the media was there, and everyone cheered when the firefighters successfully saved the coyote. They called the FWC and, like, are you going to take it to a rescue? And they're like, yeah, I'll take it to a rescue. And they took it to another site and shot it. After all this, like, media attention and stuff, it was like, I don't know what to do with it. Apparently the guy didn't know if it was native or not, and what the state's policy was, so he just took it somewhere and shot it in the head and left its
rather
body.
Than using his brain and investigating something before.
Well, he emailed a couple people and they didn't respond because it was a weekend, so he shot it. And then, like, the news reporters were like, all of this, like, media attention and goodwill, and, like, police officers and firefighters were helping save a wildlife, and you didn't, like, think about if that was, like, a good PR move. it's technically not illegal for you to euthanize it, but like, hello. So
So Angel said that yes, he did receive training, and then he follows it up with saying that he didn't receive training for exotics. But you were in New York City, and they're in Florida, so we would hope. But even if they weren't trained in specifics for exotics, they should have had some kind of training in like the steps of euthanasia, in the verifying before you kill something. Like there should have just been basic level training that I'm sure that they had, which leads us to believe that what they were doing was intentional.
Mm-hmm. So I think people should obviously stay compliant to keep their class 3. But I think you should stay like maliciously compliant. Like follow the rules. Maybe too much. Maybe ask extra questions. Be like, is this legal? Every time your officer comes in. Like even if you know the answer. Because I think making them aware that you're hyper aware that they have like an unusual amount of authority over you, even though if you guys are friends, it's gotta mean something that you're like so aware.
Yeah, be meticulous, be within the law, and if someone FWC shows up to your exotic shop or at your house, wherever you keep your snakes, and is making crazy requests, yes, he was in a spot where he had to be compliant and was just trying to do the right thing, which he's been trying to do this whole time. But if that happens to anybody else from going forward, live stream it, call the news, call the police. There was police there. Obviously, that wasn't a huge help, but you can do these things,
Or
to
maybe
hold
get
them
arrested if
or
you
get
if your
arrested.
family can withstand the burden of you not making money for them while you're in jail, which is like a privilege, right?
Right. It is a huge privilege. A lot of people aren't able to do that, but you are, like I said, you can live stream it. You can call in the media. You can call in your reptile friends. They can come and they can video and live stream it as well. And you can call USARK Florida. And while it's happening. So even though they're backing you into a corner and there are so many repercussions, and like Jessica said, that comes with privilege to feel like you can fight those repercussions. There are things that you can do in that moment to maybe slow their momentum and their ability to come into your facility and just start killing things. Because I think that not that I'm saying he's wrong, like I have no idea how I would have dealt with that situation. I probably would have left the building or the premise, or like I don't know how I would have handled it. I definitely wouldn't have had the forethought to record it. I'm sure that he was deeply obsessed. So I'm not saying at all that he did the wrong thing. I'm saying that what we can do in the future is that you can just make as much noise as possible before anything happens. And hopefully that will give them pause to maybe even just check microchips to verify the breed, or the species. Like maybe that can prevent the massacre. We would like to see it prevent the massacre of these animals that should be grandfathered in because he was following all the rules. But it definitely, hopefully, we can prevent the euthanasia of animals that are completely legal to keep. So, like, if you are in Florida and you're not planning on leaving Florida, just keep that in mind whenever you're dealing with FWC.
So this isn't a tip. This is just a thought. They have like an invasive hotline, which is what the Retick was called in for. But if it's being used to like persecute people, I don't think I should. If I was a Floridian, I wouldn't be encouraging my neighbors to use it, or
Never.
me. I would be like, don't use it.
Don't use it. If you have a non-native species that you're seeing, call your reptile friends. Call USARK Florida. Do not call FWC.
Right, because you're legally allowed to euthanize those prohibited species yourself. And I bet you can do a better job than they did. Let's be honest. You cannot possess them though. Just saying, legally, you can't take that, like find a baby iguana in the wild, keep it for 10 minutes. You're possessing it.
Right.
You're
you can't
required to euthanize it.
Correct.
Technically. Legally.
Allegedly, they did nothing.
You should not do that.
Um,
But you're a herper. You know more about stuff than them. So if somebody keeps they keep finding like a random ball python in a park that somebody either let go or whatever. So just herp that shit out of the park and don't tell anybody, because that's just gonna make them be like, oh, ball pythons.
Fuck, we need to ban ball pythons now.
Just don't post it on social media. Maybe like ask your local friends if they lost a ball python, whatever, right? But don't air it out that people are losing pets if they're losing pets. And obviously FWC is listening, so no one has ever lost a pet in Florida.
No one has ever. Yes, correct.
But if you happen to recover a pet, there's no reason to report it.
Yes, allegedly.
Which is fucked, because you would want them to keep track of stuff, but they're using it in such a malicious way that I don't really want them to have that information. So they're
using it as a way to get in the door and kill things, because apparently that is something they enjoy. Lisa, they were killing reticks and Burmese pythons at his facility. He had both.
Right. Well, reticks were banned because they happen to be large and scary. There are no currently breeding populations that we know of officially in Florida. So they were like, why did they ban Amnesty pythons? Is there fucking Amnesty pythons anywhere? No. They did it because they just were like big and they could be a problem.
Right. So what happens with legislation, guys, if you didn't know, if they can get their toe in, they're going to keep sliding their foot in further. And so the reason that we promote USARK and USARK Florida so heavily is because anything we can do to keep this legislation from being passed in any state is beneficial to us. Because if it is passed even in one state, then A, that state is going to try to start passing other animals that are reptiles, and B, all the states around it are going to be like, they passed it, we can pass it too, and there's precedence. So it's just a cascading ball of fuck for us, and that is why we need to be so passionate about it, because literally the Burmese pythons were the ones, and it was like a total fluke situation. It's not like somebody was just oopsie doopsie, I'm just gonna let all these go, wee. Total fluke, fucked up situation. Like, what is that? An act of God? What is that called?
Yeah,
an act of nature.
Well, supposedly some of them were maybe in there since the 70s, but at such a limited amount. It was just that big bolus during Hurricane Andy that, like,
correct.
It just helped them out too much. It was like,
but
here's
they used
70 more.
The Burmese Python situation to ban large snakes.
Yeah, just as the category known as large snakes.
Yes, and so like if they can get their foot in just a little bit, like I said, they go as far as they feel like they can, and then when they get that, they try to go even further, which they have absolutely shown. If you look at the progression of these laws,
right? Well, I mean, like the current thinking, I did read a paper on it. It's like, I mean, one day we'll review this paper, but there was a U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service paper about the Lacey Act, where like the Lacey Act is actually really effective because if you ban it, it can't show up. And you're like, duh. Like that was like the result of the paper. It's like, well, no shit. Because they're like, well, what if they show up even if we banned it? And so some of them did. That happen too, right? But like, they were like, Lacey Act is a success because things didn't become invasive from being banned. But I'm like, what else did you lose on the way to banning it? Like ASFs obviously didn't get it established, even though they were banned from interstate transport. Have you seen any ASF colonies in
the
Washington?
Nope, not in any of the states, actually.
Right. So like, were they ever going to be that way anyway? So it was almost like making excuses. We'll cover that paper one day.
There might be one in my backyard, guys.
Allegedly.
It might be happening. No, I have not actually seen them in the wild.
Right. And I think what people need to remember is like, as a herper in Florida, you can stop a lot of problems by like removing stuff. So before they ban, veiled chameleons, which are, established in Florida, just fucking ship those fuckers out of state. You know what we need? We need
allegedly.
before they ban Bahama anoles and curly tails and Mediterranean geckos. Collect them and sell them as feeders or whatever.
Allegedly.
Just allegedly, but do the work of like helping to clean up your own environment. Some of it doesn't matter. Like I don't actually think iguanas fucking matter because they all live in like suburbs anyway. They don't live in the wild. They actually have very little impact on.
No, they're in the neighborhoods trying to attack you.
No, they're just eating your plants. That's what people are mad about. And they do dig under embankments and stuff, but so do native turtles. Are you gonna like murder the native turtles for doing the exact same kind of damage the iguanas do? Yeah, I mean, the USDA gets the managed plants, Aurora. She says, like, there's a lot of invasive plants. And to me, plants are worse because they can change an entire ecosystem.
There is
down to like
a really long list of banned things from
like
Washington.
biology and chemistry and the hydrology of the entire thing is completely fucking different. Like, if you've ever been in an eastern forest with like Japanese stilt grass, fucking salamanders can't live there anymore. Period. It's not like, because like a snake slots in and it can eat stuff and kill stuff, right? But it acts like another predator. It's like an equivalent to an alligator. But a plant can come in and completely change the landscape,
the ecosphere of that,
so that nothing can live. So like, but we don't give a shit about plants that much because it doesn't seem as scary, right? Even though it is technically more terrible for the environment as a whole. The ecosystem will collapse if certain plants are introduced. There's regulations for plant imports, but it would cost trillions upon trillions of dollars to like de-invasive plants everywhere in the whole world. So there's just no future where we care about that. So we're going to pretend to care about big, scary Burmese pythons, I think is the point, because it's something you can get people scared about. Really quickly, let's keep going down the line. The Amnesty Program, here's the website. It's in the link. If you find somebody who accidentally forgot that they have Shane, that they have a berm or whatever, or iguana, they can technically, I wouldn't call 1-888 I've got one, which is the like tip hotline. Holy fuck, how tasteless. I would just do the request to rehome form. Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
I don't know. I know that you're suggesting that, and that is the appropriate legal recourse. You
think people should allegedly underground railroad them out of the state?
Yes, fuck yes, allegedly. I'm definitely not saying to ferry them out of state illegally. But my fear is if you report an animal,
even to the Amnesty Program,
amnesty from the program that is
I wouldn't call the like generic number, because you're gonna get accidentally felonied or some shit.
Yeah, you're gonna get arrested, and your animals are gonna be euthanized, and maybe some of your animals that aren't even on the list.
Dog, kid. You don't know. They can't tell the difference between a kid and an adult woman.
There is a path you can take, but it is under the purview of FWC. So allegedly, maybe you need to go on a road trip to your buddy's house in Georgia to talk about it. That's all I'm saying.
Allegedly. Okay. So here's the lawsuit. I don't even know if I should show it to you, but I'll show it to you in like 10 seconds because it's not interesting. Many words, many pages, 143 of them. I've read most of them, probably not all of them. What was interesting is the Bells are actually plaintiffs in the case, because they had, where's the plaintiffs list? Berms or something. So the point of the lawsuit is to like remove some of the powers of the FWC, because really does the captive breeding of an animal that never goes in the wild make it wildlife? If it goes into the wild, it becomes under their purview. But do they have the authority over something that is not in the wild?
They currently do, but they should not.
So that's
captive bred animals. It's completely different. Like absolutely, whatever is in the Florida Everglades, like that's a whole nother animal. It's a whole nother subject. But they're using the hurricane accident on the facility as...
Sorry, Shane, that's funny.
I know you said that earlier when you were talking, and I
Sorry.
forgot to click on it because I didn't want to kill your train of thought with
Mhm.
legalese stuff. But they absolutely should not have purview over captive bred animals that should be grandfathered in and should be fine, and we're, you know, within
guess
all the regulations.
My question is, I know Reptiles was crying about it, but like, should the purview be given to the ag department or not? Obviously, ideally, there'd be no control, but wouldn't you rather be treated like agriculture than illegal? Just be illegal as a whole industry?
I don't know the correct answer to that. I think that you can't just say anything would be better than FWC, because it can always get worse. And it probably will get worse before it gets better. But it's definitely food for thought that we need to have an answer to that question.
Yeah.
Like, what do
I
we
don't
want?
think people are gonna read this, but I would like USARK Florida to give. They've done a couple of live interviews and stuff, but it'd be nice if they did more like, here's a 10-minute video describing our arguments.
Correct. That would be really nice. They don't have to wade through all the interview.
Right. They don't need to pay a lawyer to do it or whatever. Just do a little like synthesized, 10 minutes of your thoughts to me. Speaking of USARK Florida, did you know you can get a free membership, Jana? Just to put your name on the rolls. So everyone should go do it.
Throw your name behind them. Go do it.
Or pay. Bronze membership's $30 a year. And then just get it free and throw them some money. Like it doesn't matter. But just getting your name on the rolls would be very helpful.
Yeah. If you have the privilege of daily coffee that you purchase, maybe go without for a week and then give the money to USARK as a membership or as just a donation. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of us do have that privilege, and we should sacrifice our privilege and throw our support behind USARK Florida.
Lisa asks, how is it going to affect imports? Iguanas actually go into Florida right now. They just do not clear customs into the state of Florida. They stay on the airport and they go to a different state. So like Florida can still be like an import hub. It just, nothing gets to like benefit Florida. It stays in the airport, passes through customs, and gets on another plane. So I don't know. Does Florida want business or not? Next point, I think, Jana, and I'm biased because I don't live there, but keepers should consider moving. Lots of people have already left. I know people, that's not obviously something everyone can do financially or for their kids. But given what we're getting ready to talk about with the whitelist and just like a general sentiment, like especially like the requirement to self-report injuries that could give you a felony.
Totally doing that, allegedly.
Right. I would allegedly not be injured because then you'll lose your entire class 3, right? So like you would lose your ability to keep all pythons. The rules are not fair and they don't seem to be getting any fairer. And people have tried hard to work and people are like, well, USARK Florida's not doing enough. I don't fucking know if anything counts because like people have been talking about, they are 100. All of the commissioners are developers. They all donate to Mr. DeSantis for his political campaigns. They're all buddies. It sounds
golf
good.
Every Thursday together.
It sounds good
allegedly.
To like be mad at a big scary snake, then worry about the fact that habitat destruction is obviously more important to the long-term survival of Florida species.
Florida is fucked already, guys.
So it's like, it's a good boogeyman to keep people looking over here instead of the starving manatees or whatever else. Like keep focusing on how scary Burmese pythons are and then literally look at literally nothing else. So the amount of conditional permit holders in the state of Florida was not enough for them to give literally 2 shits. This is like the perfect scapegoat.
Yeah.
So
Ray
I
with
would consider moving.
Ray with the luring serpents. He's in Florida and hating it all, and he thinks that Texas is looking really awesome. Kalors, did I say that right? Aquatics and Reptiles lived in Florida 16 years and moved to Tennessee. Had planned to move back to Florida, but instead has put his property up for sale.
You hear that, FWC?
And then somebody mentioned that we should be, right here, Aaron. We should be, all the vendors and expos should refuse to attend in Florida. Yeah, absolutely. We should not be giving Florida our business. Can we please move Daytona up to Georgia, like the bottom where they touch? You know, like, I just think that you're inviting fuckery.
Right. It's hard because obviously people who live in Florida and need to vend in Florida don't want people to be discouraging people not to spend money in Florida.
This is their livelihood, yes.
But I don't want to go to Daytona and have fun, like knowing that my like sweet restaurant dollars are going to a state that doesn't give 2 shits about nothing, right?
Yeah.
I think they should move it to New Orleans. Okay. So it's like still like a party town.
Oh,
but it's a fucking hillbilly swamp party.
I just meant that everybody loves it because it's like on the beach, and that
right, but corn snakes are illegal in Georgia. So
oh, they're illegal in I did not know that. That fucking sucks.
Yeah, it have to be like Alabama. There's beaches in Alabama or something. Like if you went the other direction, like still like a Gulf Coast beach.
Okay.
I don't know the answer, Jana, and
Neither
it
do
sucks
I.
to be like, fuck all the people who breed nice snakes in Florida. I don't want to go to your shows. Like that's fucked.
Do we have a banner, right, for the opinions do not necessarily represent the sponsors or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is definitely not also legal advice. Holy shit.
We are not lawyers, and we would never encourage you to do something illegal.
Ever.
Just use your best judgment on that, and take everything we're saying with a grain of salt, because we're just entertainers at this point.
Yeah, this is all for entertainment purposes only. Okay, and then the other thing is, the coming whitelist stuff that we're going to talk about in like 10 seconds. It looks like they have 2 choices, which are discussed in this video here, which is on Instagram and on YouTube and in the show notes, which is what happened at the last tag meeting. It looks like they have 2 choices. There's no longer a blacklist. It's 2 versions of whitelist, a super strict insane one and a mid whitelist, which both are terrible.
For those that aren't super savvy with all the lingo, can you remind everybody what a black and white list is?
So a blacklist, what they have now, where there's prohibited species you can't have. Everything else is fine. And then a whitelist is where they just have a list of what you can have. But obviously, based on the old, there's like 30,000 species. If you include aquaculture, reptiles, birds, that would be under the purview of a whitelist. They will miss stuff. They will miss stuff taxonomically. They will miss stuff because they just don't know about it. They're going to do a whitelist at this point. Remember, they were like, we won't call it a whitelist like a year ago. And they're like, it's not a whitelist. Stop talking about that way. This is propaganda. So, they are calling it a whitelist now officially.
Blacklist, we hate it. Unpleasant. It's not great. Whitelist, fuck everything. It's terrible. It is like worst case scenario, guys.
Right. And then they have 2 interpretations of their own rules, which they apparently didn't know what it was when they wrote it. So that's excellent. And one of them is a like, if it's here now, that's good. So that can be whitelisted. And you would have to request only to import into the state. And the second one is everything that's here needs an assessment to just be whitelisted, which is worse because then that means it costs like $10,000 to $15,000, something like that, to get an official assessment of whether or not it could be whitelisted.
It is extremely difficult to get something whitelisted if it's forgotten on the whitelist.
Right. So if scenario 1 happens, my advice would be if you want a rare species of gecko that like they're going to forget about or a weird colubrid or whatever, get it now, because like the only snowball's chance you have in affording to get your like little, I don't know, you know, like a weird version of a cave gecko. There's a bunch of species. Like if you want Louis eye, go buy it now, because they're not going to whitelist this one version of a cave gecko when they have 3 others that they did whitelist, unless it's already in the state. But this part of it is like, this is like looking forward to the stuff in May coming up. This is the scariest part. And then they're not going to be able to tell the species apart anyway when they come to euthanize your cave geckos for being not on the whitelist. Looking forward.
Brian says, Tennessee is awesome. There are a lot of really badass breeders in Tennessee. I think we should just all conglomerate there. Housing prices are amazing. Cost of living is great. It sounds good to me. I'm on my way. Mr. Shane Kelly also lives in Tennessee. And Smoky Mountain Balls, Bree also lives in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole cohort of them.
And the other thing about the whitelist is like Barreto has said, like, if it can live here, we don't want it here. But goddamn, the whole hobby can live in Florida. I'm talking even like the stuff you're like, that maybe can't. Yes, it can. Like temperate stuff, kind of cool stuff. Just a turtle, just any turtle. Basically, there's like a gradient of habitat types. Almost all of it can live there. So Chlamydophora could live there. Easy. Japanese rat snakes. You're like, are they going to get whitelisted? I don't fucking know. They would live perfect there outside. They have a little bit of a winter in the top. That's just like how they live in Japan. Blue beauties. Nothing is like not good at living there because Florida's a nice place to live.
It's a perfect reptile habitat.
So the criteria that you're like, well, it doesn't seem like a problem. That's why I'm just like, I don't know if y'all should fucking live there. Be honest.
Not if the whitelist happens, guys. Get out now.
I mean, it's happening. It's just like which version of it, like the worst or the shittiest. So the tag meeting, they've officially announced the agenda. It's on May 10th and 11th, but the only day that matters to us is the 11th. You can use this convenient online comment form to pre-comment your feelings on the whitelist situation. I want to see everybody pre-comment because you can't call in like whatever. You can only watch it live.
Even when they let you call in, they don't really let you call in. Allegedly, you can call in at those types, but they really don't.
Right. This one isn't even a call-in one. This particular one. So you either need to be there in person, but also this isn't alleged. This is a fact. 1 hour of comments. 1 hour of comments. My God. So
make sure all of our comments are obnoxious and racy and loud, so they can't just pick good ones.
Make them coherent, because
coherent, professional. Yes.
So what it says is it's about the new like the non-native fish and wildlife group, and they're going to outline steps for the next sort of. They're pushing down the road again for what the whitelist will be or whatever.
Allegedly.
Okay,
hit
me with allegedly.
Salvadorians are definitely gonna help us out with our problem. Allegedly.
Yummy. Yeah, they're good eating. Yeah, they used to allow you to collect the babies and sell them out of state, and so now there's just a bunch of them growing up everywhere because you can't collect them and sell them out of state, obviously. So they made it like an extra problem.
Yeah.
So if FWC wanted to relieve a problem, they could utilize all these El Salvadorians and herpers
and
that have all ways to monetize the resource as best as they can. My God. Well, that would be cool.
And that seems like a better solution than killing captive bred in facility snakes and
What?
animals.
Are you
What?
sure?
What? Oh, just let people wild catch them and then export them out of the state?
Right, and make money and jobs?
Make
I'm
money
getting
and
jobs.
jobs and fuel the economy? That's a shitty idea, Jessica.
Republicans
Fuck,
supposedly
we don't want
love
to do
jobs.
that. We don't want to help our economy, and we don't want to actually reduce the wild animals that are invasive.
No, never. We would want to do that.
We just
All right,
wanna...
allegedly there's a shirt for sale. I just want everybody to look at it. You could allegedly purchase this from Donovan Winterberg on Facebook. You have to DM him, though. This is hot off the presses.
Yep, limited time.
Limited time only.
Hopefully Jessica will be sporting hers next week.
I did buy one. Respect. Allegedly. Bought one. It's time for the second ad break.
It is. So if you guys have questions or comments or something to add.
Yeah, leave comments. I don't have good answers though, Jana.
We don't know, but if you need to say your piece, go ahead while we do the ad break and maybe we'll hit on them. But let's just do it. If you need to get stuff out, now's the time to do it while we talk.
Right.
About our wonderful sponsors who put up with us and all of our loud opinions.
I know, God, allegedly they put up with us.
Allegedly. Who knows? Maybe they won't after today.
I know, God. I'm so
Gray
sorry.
Family Snakes, Roger and Lori Gray, who are just incredible people. They have some...
Not allegedly. Yes, ma'am.
They have 2 new snakes this week that they tested, a new Sanzania and a adult axanthic female, and they both came back negative. They did a Boyd panel. Boyd, Jessica says that I say it wrong. They also are excited that they are planning to have some axanthic het DG hatchlings for sale this year, so watch for those clutches to drop. And they're going to have a lot of different codoms involved in that as well. They are also in the process of learning Creole, which is the pseudo-national language in Sierra Leone, which is where their charity that they help is with the eye surgeries. They are continuing to offer merch for the proceeds, 100% going to Sierra Leone, but they haven't made a lot of sales. So they are also offering 100% of snake sales, minus shipping, of course.
How generous. Thank you.
Very, very generous. We'll be going to their mission in Africa. And each snake or each eye surgery is only $50. And so a $600 snake would go a long way towards helping that cause that they are super invested in and campaigning for. And they will also be traveling next month down to Sierra Leone to visit the actual clinic and to volunteer, and hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of footage and video, and we'll be getting to see a lot more of what's happening down there. So if you feel inspired to help out and you are in the axanthic projects, they have some really good snakes up there still, and 100% proceeds will go to that charity. So thank you for sponsoring the show, and hopefully you guys can earn a lot more money for your charity event, and we are looking forward to hearing how it goes.
Thank you. I want to see them Sierra Leone locality ball pythons.
Yes, please. I hope you're herping. Andy with Powerhouse Pythons, his first 2 clutches have landed. And then he is also the Pacific Northwest Go for Cocoa distributor. So that's pretty exciting. And apparently still a sponsor of our crappy podcast, which we are very grateful for. I will be purchasing some Go for Cocoa this week. And
can you do it by next week?
By next week?
Comparison
probably, yeah.
Segment?
Yes, yeah. We'll be doing a comparison segment between Retick, Cocoa Blocks, and the Go for Cocoa. Just like a portion of our episode next week. So tune in if you're interested in seeing. I will have it physically so you guys can see it. And then I'll just talk about some of the attributes that I noticed. And I will probably throw it into each of my snake bins and see how it smells and absorbs. And
all right, I have a question.
Humidity. Yes.
Can you figure out a way to calculate percent tannins or something?
I can look into it. I don't know if I will be able to, but I could put it under white snakes.
No,
Would
like
that be
I've had
enough, or do
cocoa
you
that
need like an
wasn't
actual
washed enough, and so it'll
scientific?
stain the snakes.
I have lots of like
Like maybe like
ivories
take
and
a paper
pieds.
towel, put like a known amount of cocoa on a
Oh
scale,
yeah,
like
and
10
then just
grams,
like
and then 10 grams of water, and then
yeah,
like soak it up, and just see how like dark the paper towel gets as like a
for sure.
tannin test. You can make
Yes.
it fun with pictures or whatever. Janet's
Yeah, with pictures. I'll put on my
Hell yeah.
swimsuit.
I had a
Everyone needs to
batch that
see
was
that.
so tanniny and nasty. It turned all of my albino boas into like mottled. They
It
look
was so
diseased or
yeah, they looked
something.
like they were dying of like scale
Do you
rot
remember that?
and like poop. No, I had that happen with a
With
batch
boas, yeah.
recently.
It just certain batches are not washed
Well,
correctly.
and they were hatchlings, and so it's like I
Right.
don't love bathing hatchlings. I think it's a lot too stressful for them, and I don't think it's good for their skin. And also, it doesn't necessarily help or improve it. But I can't sell snakes that look like that. Like I
Right,
don't
you gotta
feel
wait till their next
good.
shed.
Yes, and it's that does grind my gears for sure.
KMB says put a handful in like a standard deli cup water and just take pictures. Like
Okay.
that would be
That's a
good.
really
Then
great
you can like
idea.
compare the
How
percent of
dark it is.
darkness.
Yes.
I would weigh it though.
Okay.
Yeah, Costco has one. If you wanted to do more brands, I'm in, but we shouldn't force you into like wait a lot of work for this little project. All right. Who's this person? What's this?
Wait, Costco has cocoa bark because we don't recommend cocoa bark for ball pythons.
No, I think they have chips in the spring, like
the
actual, like
husk.
yeah,
The
like
husk,
what
okay, because
we
it's different
use.
than the bark. Because the bark, I see a lot of my
Yeah, I don't think he means like Retick
customers.
bark. I think he
Yeah,
means like their brand is called Cocoa Bark or whatever. I've seen them buy it. They sell it for like $14.99. Are you gonna read that?
yeah. Roger said we are going all in on a pallet with other local breeders. I look forward to what you find as the differences. What brand, if you don't mind saying, are you guys planning on purchasing? Is it the Go for Cocoa? So I probably won't have time to order in like the hemp bedding and the different beddings because those are East Coast, and they usually take us like 10 to 14 days to get them shipped to us. Allegedly. It takes a really long time and is a little bit frustrating. But I will be doing the local ones that I have access to.
All right, let's do Bravo Zulu.
Yes. Sorry, I need to pull up my notes. Okay,
guess where she's going, and we're invited. Ish.
We
I'm
are.
gonna invite myself. I invited us.
Oh, Jessica's going because this is like geeking her out. So Bravo Zulu is going to be doing her field study next month, studying the country's conservation efforts and doing surveys on various flora and fauna to see how ecotourism efforts have helped improve biodiversity. So this obviously has to do with her college degree that she's working on. So she is offering on her remaining 2021 and 2022 snakes free shipping, and all of those funds will go to help her pay for her field study. So if you're wanting to help out a woman-owned, veteran-owned ball python breeder who is also working on getting her degree, it's for a really good cause, and you can still get a cool snake out of it. So she has a updated list of availability on her Instagram. It is current. The one she's working on getting them uploaded to Morph Market, but for the current listing, please go to her Instagram. And if you want one of those snakes, please help her out so that she can fund that field study. And we are so grateful that she is sponsoring the podcast.
Send pics.
And we expect lots of pics and stories and maybe video clips when this is happening. Because
maybe allegedly
really cool.
Smuggle some boas in your pants.
Allegedly, don't do that.
Allegedly, maybe. I'm not sure. Thank you, Bravo Zulu. Allegedly. This guy's next.
Brian's balls. Just a second. He's saying that. Sorry, Brian's BC's balls. That cypress is so good compared to cocoa. We have a really hard time here in the Northwest of getting cypress, the non-toxic cypress. So we don't really
My
have any
problem with
distributors up
cypress
here.
is it's pokey. Even the calamar, it's less pokey than like the no float or whatever. But I'll never forget watching an Amazon tree boa eat her slugs off of the floor of the enclosure.
Yikes.
And there's cypress like stabs on it. And so she's eating these like needles.
Yikes.
I think your stuff is like less chip, like point pokey.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I like that cocoa is squarish in shape. You know what
Brian,
I mean?
why don't you shoot me a DM and tell me where you get it from, and I'll see if they can act that quickly. I have no problem adding it. Like I said, I love cypress, as long as it's not pokey, like Jessica said. We just have a really hard time finding it up here in the Northwest.
Yeah, they buy it by the pallet, Shane and friends.
Yeah, I know. That's another reason we need to move to Tennessee.
We gotta get in on the commune.
Yes, we need to just take over a whole neighborhood.
State, but for ball python breeders.
Yes, for sure.
All right, let's talk about Chris Shelley.
Chris Shelley, BNS Reptilia, all 2022 colubrids are sold out.
What?
Congratulations. What? How many of us can say that about our 2022? Yeah. So congratulations on that. But he has already started 2023 breeding. And if you're wanting colubrids from him, just stay tuned and he'll be letting us know as clutches drop. So you can keep an eye out for that. He is also adding the last bit of animals from 2022 to his morph market this week. And he has a few boas left as well. And his shipping special is still available through April that we've been promoting for the last, I think, 6 weeks. So if he has what you want, or you've seen maybe something he's been posting and you want to inquire about it, you can definitely shoot him a DM on Instagram, or you can check out his morph market and see what's still available. And thank you so much for sponsoring the podcast.
Thank you.
And not canceling us.
You deserve it, allegedly. What's this, Jana?
What is this? This is the Seattle Metro Reptile Expo. I will be at this expo in May, and we will be doing our best to give it a lot of promotion. I don't know if any of you guys saw my Keys interview, but if you want to know what I'm talking about, you can head on over to that and check it out. And maybe we'll talk about it on the Holdback Rack after we've discussed it with sponsors and Jessica. But
what
I will
be
doing.
Discussing?
Oh, we'll tell you later. It's fine. Seattle Metro Reptile Expo in Monroe.
Can you explain to me this promotional image?
I can't. I didn't make it. But their new.
Where's he going?
Their
It's
new
like a
logo
terrestrial turtle in like the ocean.
I don't know. It's like a Australia one. I don't know. It's pretty cool.
I just don't get it. But respect. It looks nice.
It looks cool. It looks awesome. May 13th, I will be there. I will also be vending again with Mesa Terra, who, let's see, who did my earrings. She does lots of really cool reptile earrings, like custom reptile skins, or she does patterned bracelets, beadwork custom to your individual animals. You can order those on Etsy and all of that stuff. She's pretty cool. So we'll be there May 13th. If you're local, please come and support this expo. There's been a lot of drama in our community locally about expos. And so I'm encouraging you to please support this expo instead of other expos. Moving on.
Let's just show this one picture because it's happy. Then we'll do like collection update and look at chat. Look at that. Blackhead paint. My God, it's beautiful.
Holy hell, that is sexy. I will take 10, please.
It's a Morph Militia snake. It was posted by the Python Pit
for not being into paint. Paint Sentinel, whatever you're.
See, everybody is concerned about the tortoise. I am thinking the same thing. Is that a tortoise in the ocean? It's just strange. It's fine. It's just I'm triggered a little bit. Who messaged me?
No, we're gonna see her message live.
Yeah,
Hopefully, I didn't
brother.
send her any nudie pictures or anything.
I can't open it because it would be on the app. I forget what I asked for though. Oh, the shirt. Yeah. Motherfucker. Send me it on Facebook.
I think he's talking about CNS. Are those boas? I don't know. I'm confused.
I think we should bolt gun it in the head and then decide after.
And then let the veterinarian decide what species it is at the autopsy or the necrogram, whatever you call it.
These are good ideas. All right, we somehow made it through the worst topic ever, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, let's do a little collection update.
I did not cry my makeup off, so I think that was a win. You do your collection update first.
I have 5 clutches of corn snakes and 3 ready to lay, and a couple that are like follicle development-y. So we're on track for a goddamn storm of corn snakes.
All the corn snakes.
A tsunami.
What about your boas?
I'm pretty sure Twiggy is due this week. You know, boas, you're always like...
Yeah, hit or miss.
I don't know what's coming out of there.
Right, yeah. It's a surprise! It's babies this morning!
And I didn't pair very many because I was scared, obviously. So I think only the VPI snow litter is going to go. Not the VPI IMG litter. But he sired Twiggy's baby. So there would just be like IMG's het VPI.
Okay.
Whatever. You aren't in charge of boas. And I'm on like egg watch for ball pythons for like 6 females now who have either ovulated and shed or ovulated and getting ready to shed, basically.
That's awesome.
So like egg watch in quotes, you know, I don't know. It's not really for 30 or 45 days, but that's what you're thinking about at that point. I don't know why the camera is retarded again. I used the R word. I deployed it. I'm sorry.
You did. I'm shocked.
I've been using it privately a lot this week.
That's fair.
So I forgot that it was inappropriate because I've been like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me?
I think it was used appropriately in that instance.
I just like this move.
The Florida incident.
Surprise. It's so dumb. Why is there a delay? It's killing me again.
Yeah.
All right, it's back. And then for other ball pythons, I think I have like 15 above 15 millimeters. And then like another 10 that are like look like they're thinking about getting like they're between like 10 and 15 where they're like maybe edging above baseline size.
Oh yeah, they're edging.
So I'm gonna have way too many fucking snakes. I'm gonna wholesale all of them right away on Mork Market.
She's a feared, guys.
I'm so scared. So how's your situation?
Oh, so my situation, I feel like I haven't collection updated in like 1,000 years. Sorry for that, guys. We're back in business. So yesterday, I moved my acid clown back down to a smaller bin. He obviously had hides and all the best things, but he was eating like a freaking champ in the smaller bin. But I was like, oh, you need a luxury enclosure with all the hides and all the things. And he has been pretty inconsistent since I did that. And so I am going to put him back into a smaller bin, even though some people think that that's counterintuitive, but you got to listen to your animals. And I would like him to be to size to catch some of these ladies that are going to start building. So I've ultrasounded half my collection, and one is above what? 10.
Just above 10.
It's above 10. I have one that is 15, and I put in last night the males for her. She is a calico G stripe, and I chucked in my banana pastel yellow belly clown for her first lock. If the acid gets to size, I will be doing the last lock if everything works out, or the last 2 locks.
How big is the acid?
I want to say like 375, but he might be less now because he's been so intermittent at eating. Definitely not big enough that I'm comfortable pairing him or test pairing him or anything like that. So he needs to get back on
What do
eating.
his wieners look like?
Well, because he's not to size, I'm not gonna get excited about what his wieners look like. Because if they look good, I'm gonna kick myself in the ass.
Dwarf clown wieners look good, I think. I mean, I'm guessing
I'll check
stuff,
this
but it's
for
really
you,
small.
Jessica. And next week I will update everybody on my acid clowns hemipenes. Just for you.
I've been pairing a ultramel cryptic male to
I didn't even know you had ultramel.
Surprise. No, I told you that before. Remember, I had a collection update where I was like, instead of buying a DG male, I bought an ultramel, like a double recessive. Because ultramel is probably better than DG.
You're not wrong.
I mean, they're just different. They have different purposes. But like,
right.
I feel like I could sell an ultramel black pastel to like a pet person, like on a table, and like a baby DG. I don't know if like Normans think that
I can't tell if Small Town Exotics is kidding or not. That scares me. I hope you're kidding.
Well, it sort of depends on if they're old enough, right? So mine is 18. He was sort of underfed by the person I got him from, which is fine. I don't care. So he's like 375-ish too. So I've been trying him, and he has like a tingle in his peepees. You can tell he thinks about it, but he's not sure what to do.
And when is his birthday again?
Last summer. I don't remember the
month.
That's he's 18 months, but just small.
Oh, so like more than last
Yeah,
summer.
he's older than yours, but like I'm not telling you to. I'm just like, I just been thinking about peepees recently, and I checked the Posset Monsoon peepee. Peepee's not even close. But when they start to get like folds, this is getting weird again. Jana, you made it weird.
I don't know. Do I need to pull him out and look at his peepee on air?
We need some sort of like
I don't have any
macro lens on your thing so you can really get into that peepee.
Yeah, really get into that peepee. I don't actually have any gloves in here right now.
Yeah, you don't have to. I'm just like, I think about peepees a lot.
She does think about peens a lot. I never thought about snake peens until I met Jessica, and then she's like, how do they look? And I'm like,
respect.
What do you mean, how do they look? This is a joke, right? And she's like, you got to inspect that shit. And I'm like,
well, have you ever seen corn snake peepees? I guess you haven't. So like when you pop them when they're born, or like up until like a year, while you can still sort of manually pop them, they're just like generic little
Jessica,
red.
Are you gonna cry if I pull out my acid and I don't have gloves on? I'm not planning on touching anything else today.
Just like touch the rest of your life or whatever afterwards. It's hand sanitize when you're done. So like corn snakes have like a red tube of pee-pee for a long time, and then as they get older, it's still quite red, even when it's not like turgid, but it starts to get a lot more folds. So that's like my criteria for corn snakes, and pythons have like a little red dot, and it gets purpler as it gets older.
He just did a big long stretch out, so he looks like his lengthwise is definitely very mature, but you see how skinny he is, guys. I'm not cool with that.
Right, what do his peepees look like?
Okay, yeah, we'll look at his peepees. Sorry, dude.
Live on air.
They are still pretty immature.
I can't see that.
They're super skinny.
I believe you, though.
Immature and not like the swollen, full, mature peepees. So
you gotta get the mature boys.
The mature boys. He's still too immature to breed, and I want him to be much thicker.
What month was he born?
June 2022.
Okay.
And it's my fault he's not big because he was 300 grams. No, 250 grams when I got him at 6 months. So I have no one to blame but myself.
So you were just feeding him like a frozen thawed mouse of normal-ish size?
When he first got here, I was feeding him live ASFs, but one bit him and he was pretty traumatized by that.
Oh, poor buddy.
So if I put one in, he just would immediately go and fly into his thing, and I'm like, I guess he doesn't really want live anymore. And so the few that he's taken since I moved him to the bigger size have been frozen thawed. I've tried jumbo mice and I've tried rats. He won't take a small rat at all. He will take a jumbo mouse. some of the time. I still offer them both when I'm
as frozen thawed.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, I probably could have gotten mine up to size faster or more if I fed it every 5 days. I bought him in November. So he's gotten like 100 grams bigger, but I didn't like smash him with food. I just offered him like a frozen thawed adult mouse or ASF or wrap up or whatever. I guess it'd be like a rat wiener pup, mid size. But
so you're saying that I should scale it down in size just till he's eating more consistently?
I have no idea what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Well, I just put him in a
So
smaller container so he won't.
Is he like refusing 100%? So you skip 2 weeks, or
So he was refusing 100%. So I was doing every 2 weeks, and then he ate. So then the next week I offered and he refused, and then the next week I offered and he took it, and then he hasn't eaten in the last 2 times. And I was offering.
But he was eating live.
He's taken frozen thawed those times. The live was when I first got him.
What about like a rat pup that doesn't move? You don't breed rat pups.
I don't breed any rodents at the moment.
What?
Oh, collection update. I fed off all my rodents. I don't have ASFs or rats or anything at the moment. I needed something off my plate, and that seemed like a good choice.
When did this happen?
Sometime right after I got full custody of my kids.
Collection update. Dang,
collection update. I haven't had rodents probably about 3.5 weeks.
Do you like this change, or are you sad?
I think it was a really good choice. I did it for my own self-care, my own what's on my plate and what can I take off my plate that's not necessarily needed. I only have like 2 snakes that absolutely won't take frozen thawed, and so they're both big enough that I can feed them every other week, and I have lots and lots of people near me that I can pick up those rodents from.
Who are you buying rodents from?
I can buy rodents from Andy of Powerhouse Pythons because he's badass. Anything I want, I can get ASF.
I just didn't know if you like went down the bridge or if there was somebody up near you.
Morph Mechanics, but he is deployed to San Diego, I believe. And so his family is managing all of that, and so I don't know if they would sell to the public, but they are closer than Powerhouse. But I would probably not bother them right now. So it'd be Powerhouse that gets bothered, or I have another friend that's not a big name. They're like, they breed them for their personal that I can call in a pinch.
Okay, crazy news, Jana.
Yeah, and when I start having more females like building, and it looks like I'm going to start dropping clutches this summer, I absolutely plan on restarting colonies and stuff. But at this time in my life and what's going on, it seemed like I needed to cut some things, and so I cut several things, and that was one of them.
Bohemian says, I wish I could find someone in a small collection that would buy rats for me weekly.
Well, I would buy them from Jessica all the time, but she's a hoe and moved out of state.
Hell yeah, brother.
I mean, thank you, Chris, for your service. Love you.
He was in here earlier. He probably wandered off.
Anyway, so I have the other half of my collection that I will ultrasound before the next episode. So you guys will get an update on that next week. Hopefully there'll be more than one in that group, and I'll be able to do some other pairings. And I haven't been out to the snake shed this morning and to check to see if that pair is locked up. But if there is, of course, I'll post that to my Instagram. Jessica complained that I was dropping the ball on Instagram.
I don't want to see your face on your Instagram.
She's sick of seeing my face and my titties. And
I want to see snakes.
And she just wants snakes. So since I love my work wife,
I'm telling you, this is
I'm
good
going
for
to
you.
listen. And apparently I've been getting a lot of comments. So apparently you guys missed my snakes too. So I'm going to be trying to post. I'm hoping for every day, but I'm shooting for 5 days a week.
Or just anything ever would be good.
Anything ever. So it's been happening, guys. I've been making a concerted effort to show you what's happening, even though nothing's happening.
Yeah, you're doing great.
I'm fine. I'm not mad about it.
Do you think you don't have follicle development because you fed them less than every other week, or?
So
something? Because it's very suspicious, because I moved across the country in August and I have better follicle development.
Right, but that was
And
August
you just
for
moved.
you. I moved them out to the thing in October, November. So when did
Right,
you
but I
start
have
getting...
eggs. So I moved in August.
I absolutely. So how I normally deal with it is I feed very heavily from like mid-October, probably like through December or sometimes mid-January. I feed weekly. I always thaw more rodents than I need. And so girls, it'll take a second small. We'll get a second small. When you were still here, I would get mediums for my bigger girls. So those girls would get mediums. And so I was a heavy feeder in the past. And then the last, I don't know, 9 months, I've been like a casual feeder. So every 2 weeks-ish, sometimes 18 days instead of 14 days, but not heavy and not mediums, just regular smalls. And I absolutely have seen that it's affecting them. And I am now feeding how I normally feed in October. And so like the last, I want to say like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, probably 4 weeks, they've been getting fed more. And that's why I just did an ultrasound, because some of them are looking pretty thick, but I think maybe they're just sucking up all that fat from being fed every week. So I was really thinking that I would have a lot more forward motion than I did.
Shout out Jared.
Shout out to Jared. Love you. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not sad about it. So like I could have absolutely course corrected earlier and fed heavier to see if that would have been beneficial. But the timing is really good for me. Like right now I have online only classes. I have no classes this summer. I'm really putting a lot of my focus into my business right now. And I just didn't have the time to give it my full attention where I do now. And I want that acid clown to be able to steal some of those clutches. And so the fact that I've pushed it off unintentionally, intentionally, however you want to look at it, I'm not sad about it. Like I'm not crying. It's not keeping me up at night. I'm not like, I'm a failure. I'm just like, I'm so glad that happened. I would just like to now undo that and move forward in some way.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear that I don't think it's because you moved them. I think it's because you just didn't feed them enough for them to be ready when they normally would have.
I think part of it is moving, because I had girls that when I moved them, they were
right. They could reabsorb, but I mean, like the ones that were at nothing and then were moved should have gone to build. Fine. Like I've literally had 2 sets of clutches that were fully folliculized since just 2 months before you moved them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I hear you.
And incubated them and hatched them. Cross country move.
Okay.
Move to your shed.
That's fair.
But I don't feed insanely, but I guess I was feeding more new. Like I'll offer almost everybody something at least every 2 weeks. And some of them I'm like, you're fat, you're getting every week or whatever, like normal. So I was just feeding a little bit more than you.
Yeah, and I normally was feeding every other Friday, but then if Friday got hectic, it would be more like Monday.
Right, so it'd be like 18 days or something, or
whatever that is.
Days.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But now everybody's getting offered every week.
Was the shed cold or hot? I know it wasn't that humid, but how's the shed been going? Roger
really bad humidity issues. My inside space in my office, which is currently where I'm sitting right now, very small room. It's, I don't know, 12 by 8 with the racks in them. So 12 by 10. I don't know. It was very small. And it held humidity awesome. It was always like 65% humidity just in the room. So I never had issues. I actually had to put less water into my cocos because it would get oversaturated and be too humid. And then I went out there and I can saturate the cocoa every week and it still dries out before 1 week has passed. And so I'm still working on, I have the bins figured out, but I'm still working on like what solution I want for the whole building to keep that humidity, because it sits at 40 in the building. So like I said, re-wetting the cocoa is working on keeping the snakes happier. Like they weren't having like terrible sheds. They just weren't all coming off in one piece, which I hate. And I think having that lower humidity isn't good for them, in my opinion. So they definitely, like, probably January, it took me that long to get everybody's bin dialed in to correct humidity. But it's absolutely like a great temperature. The heat pump that's in there keeps it at whatever I set it at. I keep it at 80.
Okay, are the rats in there, or the rats in your sunroom or whatever? Or
The rodents were in my sunroom,
Okay.
and prior to the move out to the snake shed, I kept my snakes and my rodents in the same room. And I am planning, when I restart breeding rodents, breeding them in my snake shack again, rather than the sunroom. That just worked better for me. Some people it doesn't work, but that's what I plan on doing. So like I said, I'm not sad about it, but absolutely it could 100% be all things I did. But I'm not sad about it. And everybody is a healthy weight. Just not necessarily
you can
like a breeding weight.
100% shelve a female and not let her build follicles by just feeding her a maintenance amount of food. Everybody at home who has like 20,000 snakes, they don't want to breed this year.
I'm actually down to 40 adult females. And
did you sell something?
I've been selling for the last year. Like,
I know, but like, did you sell something in the last couple of months at a show or something, like adult females? Because you were saying you had stuff you wanted to sell, but you didn't want to breed because you didn't have time.
Before we had that conversation, I had sold a bunch at shows like over the last summer.
Right, I know, but I
haven't sold anymore. No, I still have
my
probably 10-ish
that you want to sell.
That I want to sell, and then I have about 20 grow up females that just aren't to breeding side. No, I have to like weed through and be more choosy, and so I will be selling probably half of those. But the really good ones, obviously, I'm keeping. But it feels pretty good to only have 40 adult females, and I'm not breeding all of them.
I have much more than 40.
Yeah, it feels good. 40 adult females, and I have 10 adult males, but one is a show snake, so he doesn't breed anybody because he's a germ.
Did you ever? I guess you decided to keep Clown Pied. Did you decide to keep Pied?
I still have my adult Pied male, just because I haven't listed him because I was still like on the fence. I don't think I'll do any Pied to Pied pairings. I will. It just depends on how he has not been bred yet. My Clown Pied, he is up to size and he is eating and he is the right age. I haven't looked at his peens. Sorry, Jessica. But he'll be a first year breeder. So I think I have.
Were you supposed to be breed sharing?
I'm not.
Am I making that up?
No, I had talked a lot to Stone Age about breed sharing, and then I decided to make the purchase of the acid clown.
Okay.
And so my acid clown is slated to go to my pastel Clown Pied female. And that was the one I was going to be breed sharing with Stone Age. Oh my gosh.
Should be interesting.
So many comments. Okay, we're at 2 hours, bitch. Can we move on from...
I'm trying to hear the makeup for the months of non-collection updates.
Nobody cares, Jessica.
That's why it's at the end of the show. Please
comment below that you do not give a fuck that I have not collection updated in 6 months. There was nothing to update.
No, Jana. Tell me what happened on Keys real quick before we go. Was it fun?
But really, I got to interject here for the people who are listening. Richard says that he is perfectly okay with my Jana pics, and snakes are kind of gross. And he didn't say this, but I didn't mean
those kind of snakes.
And I'm kind of cute, so it's okay if I post.
You are cute, Jana, but it doesn't look like a snake breeder Instagram profile. It looks like a Jana profile. It looks like your OnlyFans audition.
I do not have an OnlyFans.
I don't know.
No matter how many of you email me and ask, no, it is not so.
Keys,
Keys. So I was on Keys on Wednesday. If you have not caught that, please.
You know what? I haven't caught it, Jana.
I expected that.
I was reading a 144-page brief.
She was collecting all of this information, guys, and
I'm
it's
sorry.
okay.
I
I
will
think
watch
we're
it this
to the
weekend though when I
I
feed.
think we're to the point, Jessica, that we like literally don't have to watch everything the other person's on because it's getting excessive. In general,
I slapped it with a like. Does that count?
that does count, and you
Yeah,
shared when
I
I
viewed
shared
it.
that
I
I
just
was going
didn't
to be
have
on.
time.
Anyway, I was on with Keys Constrictor. They're amazing. I really like them. I talked way too much. I may have been drinking. It was 5 o'clock,
Sounds
so
fun.
it was 5 o'clock
Definitely
somewhere.
check it out now.
So, if you want to hear me talk for 2 hours, I talk about biosecurity. I talk about the expo drama. I talk about my kids. I talk about so much stuff, guys. I think I badmouthed my ex, which I try not to do.
Wow.
Just,
Spicy.
there was a little rum on board, guys. You just don't know what's going to happen. So that's
check
what
it
happens.
out, everybody.
It was not a hair down Friday episode, but I was definitely hair down in his episode.
Jana was hair down. I changed it to the hang in there, kitty. We got to hang in there, everybody. Thank you for coming on Jana. I said that out loud. I'm so sorry. It's the end of the podcast.
I have so many comments, and I don't think any of them are okay to say.
We were supposed to be good because the Fish and Wildlife Commission might be here.
And what are they going to discredit us because we say come?
What else we got? Are we done?
We have so much news, guys, but we're gonna avoid all the other.
This is me for the rest of my life.
I don't know. I think you're gonna need to send that to me in a DM because it's magic. Anyway, so we're gonna skip the rest of the news. We're already at 2 hours and 10 minutes, guys. We've been talking for way too long.
I demand a normal week from this hobby.
Good luck. Hopefully we have a quiet week and we can do just a little blurb and geek out a little bit about cocoa substrate, and then maybe dig into the other news that was not quite as important as the
I kind of want to do something dumb, like Morphe, or
it just felt inappropriate.
It's like this one's pretty and this one's not. Like just argue about something that's like completely not important.
Right. But next week we'll do a lot of just unimportant, lighthearted stuff because it's been pretty heavy this year. Really heavy every week.
Live in the forest.
Maybe I'll even bring my puppy in and see which coconut she likes to sniff more. She loves coconut blocks. Jana? She loves coconut blocks. It's hilarious.
You're gonna do a puppy test? Like
a puppy test.
Sniff
oh
more?
My gosh! Because apparently I'm like the grossest human ever, but there is like this puppy. If there is a single chip of coconut block anywhere, and she comes into the snake shed, she immediately tries to eat it. Of course, I get it from her because it takes her a minute. She's like making this face, but she loves coconut blocks, and I'm like. Girl,
so cold blood is correct. We could revisit slippery dicks, the very most important family-friendly topic.
We will open next week with slippery
the other one that I found.
Oh, there's more, guys. Okay, cool. We'll open with the new one and then maybe outro with the slippery dicks.
Can you let me do we're at the end, so I just want to talk randomly. I still want to do the tetrodotoxin poisoning event because I wanted you to sexually read the medical report.
I would like to state for the record that Jessica just asked Jana permission for what the episode should be.
I do that all the time. What are you talking about? You just don't believe me. Because listen, everybody, listen at home. We could have Jana sexually describe this like medical report of a guy who died from accidentally eating a rough-skinned newt in a drunken frenzy, and there's multiples of these. Like it's always
sexy read about somebody dying on choking on a
trust me, it would be awesome.
We'll slap on some makeup,
and then we could decide which beer they were sort of mainlining to get so drunk that they would dare each other to eat a rough-skinned newt, and then we can talk about sodium channels in neurons. It would be so hot.
So hot. I have no idea.
All right, let's leave. Fuck.
Let's leave. We're saving our big announcement for later, right?
We have an announcement?
Yeah.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. Okay, cool. We're saving it for later, guys.
Yeah, because I don't know what's going on officially yet.
You know, officially, it's fine.
We can have like a drinking competition too. We can day drink.
I have to drive to pick up my child from preschool.
Okay, don't do that.
But we can have like a holdback rack after dark. Would you guys like that, where we could be drinking and you guys can be there? And maybe
the only way to do it though is to like watch something
really
and like react to it. Like,
maybe
I was gonna say porno, but that's not legal.
A hair down movie madness. What's that called when you do like a screening? Is it screening party?
Yeah, I don't know if it should be a whole movie. I was gonna like react to like funny clips
on TikTok.
Yeah, or something like that. Like we could react to like our what the fuck on Reddit, or
we could watch
our kids falling down.
Like every time he laughs, do a shot.
We die right away. Yeah, something like that. All right, whatever. We gotta get out of here.
Look at everybody's saying that they need an after dark drinky episode.
If we did mystery theater, it'd have to be like science fiction and fantasy because I couldn't sit through anything else.
That's cool. I'm down with that.
But that would have to be like if we were to change it to like membership or Patreon. It's like
Snakes on a Plane. I've been meaning to rewatch that since now I can identify most snakes. And watching current movies that have snakes in them, it's so hysterical because I'm like, that's a ball python. Oh, that's a king snake. Oh, that's a corn snake. They're not scary at all. And so I really need to go back and watch that. I've looked at clips and it's definitely like ball pythons and corn snakes and like lots of.
I'm sure you watched The Passion of the Christ, right? Oh, okay. Well, Satan is a berm. Oh, an albino berm. They couldn't even have made it like a somewhat venomous looking snake. It's an albino berm.
That seems scary.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff, we can just like compile them and just react to the clips of like the scenes. So like find the clips on YouTube and just react.
I think a different podcaster has cornered the Zoom market. So I don't know how we'll do it, but we'll figure something out, guys. That's like our own thing.
Listen, we can get on Twitch as long as you don't watch porn. You can almost stream and react to whatever.
The peens and comments. Oh, we just wanted to sit in our collections and show off. Jessica should give us a little like peens tutorial editorial. I've had this from Jessica. It's actually so insightful, guys. Like she literally was like, this is what a mature penis looks like, and this is what a baby penis looks like, and this is what it should look like after it comes. And like we've had like such a weird in-depth peens conversations that would blow your mind.
I mean, it's not. I feel like since ball python adults are easy to pop, there's no reason not to, indulge in the information.
I'm sorry for you.
You have to watch that replay, brother. All right, let's go, Jana. We're dragging it out.
Dragging it out. Sorry, guys. All right, we love you. We will see you next week.
I love slippery dicks.
Slippery dicks. If you want to see the after dark, feel free to blow up our inbox and maybe get a reply.
I'm busy.
All right, love you guys.
All right, bye.